Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to another Make It Monday. Thanks so much for joining me, whether you're catching me on Facebook or if you're watching the replay over on YouTube. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Nan Gerlitz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am here to help you connect with your people, whether that's gathering to craft together or you making handmade items to share with them. It's all about making and deepening those connections. So let's get to it. Wrong one again. There we go. So first up, as always, is Friday night Stampin' results, and I'm back in the winner's circle. Oh, I meant to grab the stamp set to show you. Hold on one moment. Silly me, because this stamp set called Address to You is actually meant for like envelope addressing. So you can either the oval or the rectangle will fit across these lines if you'd like to handwrite the address in there. And then these little gaps can be filled in with the balloons or the snowflakes, flowers, or trees. There's a few words in there as well. But I decided to go ahead and make a card with it so you could see that it's not just for addressing envelopes. Hello, Penny. So really fun little design, and I'd been wanting to do that. I've had this stamp set for a few weeks, and I've been wanting to make a card with it to show the versatility. So it's not just for envelopes, although I did use it on all of my Christmas card envelopes, which will be going out in the mail tomorrow, finally. So, that's me, last minute Lucy. So, okay, so that is Friday night stamping. Also, tonight is my last live of 2025. I'm taking next Monday off. Excuse me. So, yes, tonight is the last one we will have for 2025. I am also strategizing for 2026. So there may be some changes to the schedule. There may not be weekly lives next year. I have not decided yet, but just watch for some changes. I'll announce everything, of course, but happy holidays and happy new year to everyone, as I won't see you until 2026. So you're still assembling, Penny? I kind of figured. You and I, boy, we're just right up against the deadline every year. And every year I say, I'm going to do this differently next year. So we'll see if next year's the year. Okay, so tonight is Fun Fold night, and I have for you a card in a box. So this is kind of the top-down view, and this is what you would see from the front. The cool part about this is that it folds up flat, and it fits in a standard envelope. So you can send this just like any other card you would, depending on how many embellishments and things you might put on the inside. It might take extra postage because of the thickness, but otherwise it's pretty much like a standard card. So yeah, so let's get to making, right? Let's see. I also wanted to point out that this card tonight that I'm going to make live for you is using the new True Blue Florals Designer Series paper, which is our product of the month for December. I did not check before I went on, so maybe if a stamper man might be listening, if he could go check the True Blue Florals and make sure it's still available. The product of the month, we're going to have this every month. There'll be a new one. And basically, if you order up to $75, then you can add the product of the month for only $5. No matter what product it is, it's going to be $5 with a $75 order. And you do need to add it to your order once it hits $75. That will not be added automatically. The reason for that is because you're choosing to spend an extra $5. So I feel like it would be pretty presumptuous of Stampin' Up! To just add that automatically to you, right? So it's your choice whether you want to spend that extra $5, and why wouldn't you? So, okay, so I wanted to just show you the designs in this. It is all balmy blue and night of navy, so it's a very monochromatic tone kind of thing, and I love it. We've got quite a bit of florals. Obviously, that's in the name, right? I almost used this one tonight. It's super pretty. I'm loving it. So it doesn't say out of stock or low inventory. Thank you, Penny. So still available. And products of the month are always available while supplies last. So if it's a really hot one and everybody jumps on it the first week, it could sell out and then you're out of luck. So always check the beginning of the month what the new product is. Really pretty. Again, this is kind of wallpapery to me. It's like a very classy bed and breakfast. Absolutely love this one. I love a viney kind of thing. And I love that there's no greens in it, but it's all florals, but no greens. So you beat me to it. Yeah. Penny was on it tonight. And then we've got that one. And another pretty, this is in another room in the bed and breakfast. This is the one we are using tonight. And then the back. Oh, and yet another. This is probably the bathroom at the bed and breakfast. I love the wallpapery one. I don't want wallpaper in my house. And I know Russ would never go for it either. Way back in the day, he used to put up wallpaper, and I'm pretty sure he never ever wants to do that again in his life. So, oh, you're on the computer, Penny. That's why. Yeah. Russ is probably on his phone for sure. So a little harder to check. Okay. So let's get to all of this. And let me tell you, I do not do things that are difficult. I do not do things that are like, oh my gosh, I have to know trigonometry to do this, right? I do easy things. So trust me when I say, if I do this, you can do this as well. So we've got a standard sheet, half sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. We are going to score it on the 8.5 side at 2, 4, 6, and 8 inches. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's make a card that's really great. See, you'll never forget it now. So score 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then you're going to turn it the other way and you're going to score it at the 2 3/4 mark. And how you remember that is it's halfway. So you've got all your score lines. Put this out of the way. Yeah, I will. I was debating whether I was going to make my cuts with my trimmer or my scissors, but I feel like I'll do it better with my scissors. So now you're going to pick a side to be your top. It doesn't really matter. And you're going to cut one, let me see if I can. So here's my center score line. I'm going to cut all the score lines on this side up to it. Okay. I don't know if any of you are working this week. I am working at my full-time job this week. I am off Wednesday and Thursday because the library is closed. And I opted to still go in on Friday because I only work till 2 o'clock on Fridays. So I decided I would just do that instead of taking extra time. Okay, so we've got all these flippy flappies, right? This one, the little 1/2 inch guy, we're going to cut this off kind of at a little angle. And that piece is just going to go bye-bye. We're going to cut that bottom at a little angle, and that's your tab to assemble your box, okay? So far, pretty easy, I think. Okay. Where am I? Because I specifically decided, okay, this is how I'm going to do this. So I want to make sure that I say it correctly. So now you want to score all of these. You're not going to score that middle score line yet. I want to score all of these really well. And I'm going to put some liquid glue on this little 1/2 inch flap we've got. Yeah, same schedule, Penny, right? You'll get more done on Friday. That's what I was thinking because I don't think anybody else is going to be in my department on Friday. So I'm going to get filing done and I've got to do some training modules. So then you can just fold it in half. And voila, your box is assembled, okay? Super easy. Now, the reason I didn't do my, where's my little notch? There it is. The reason I didn't fold down on my halfway score yet is because this back panel, and I've decided the one that has the join on it will be my back panel, that needs to not be folded down because that's your sticky uppy, hey, this is my backdrop for all the other fun doodads, right? So I didn't want to fold down all my other ones. So here's my back panel. I'll go ahead and then fold down all my other guys. Okay, so there is our basic box. Now you're like, how do I get the stuff in the middle? So on this one, I'm going to show you, I only did one insert, and I'm going to do two inserts tonight because I find it easier to do. They're the same size, so it doesn't matter. There it is. So I've got inserts that are 3 inches by 2 3/4. And if you remember, 2 3/4 was what we did on that score line halfway. So it's going to be the same height as that, okay? So on the 3-inch line, you're going to score it 1/2 inch from each end, both of them. And then I'm going to score them or fold them so they're kind of a U shape, right? I'm going to score them in the same direction. The sample one I did, I scored them in opposite directions. So it was more like this, a Z, I guess, but I want them to be like a U. And here is where liquid glue is your friend, because remember, liquid glue gives you wiggle room. Wiggle room is very important when you're messing around with things like this. So I'm going to put liquid glue on my little 1/2 inch bits. I'm going to tuck them in so they don't hit right away. And get them down in here. And then when they pop open, try to get that up there so you can see. So I'm resting those against the back. If you have a Dollar Tree near you or any place else like that, I highly recommend these little clamps. They're fabulous and they're perfect for little 1/2 inch pieces. So if you want to do that while you're working on things so you're not worried about it losing its spot while the glue dries, it only takes a moment, but it's nice to have that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to butt this one up against the front of the box. So pop it in there. I'll move my clamps over here. Okay, so now we have 2 little dividers on which to glue fun little things, right? So the coolest thing about this is if you have like a stamp set or a bundle that has like a lot of tools, like hammers and saws and things like that, like you can make a toolbox for a guy card, right? For like a woodworky kind of, or a woman, sorry. But like a woodworking kind of person, that would be a great kind of toolbox kind of effect. Gardening, you can do a lot of flowers and things, all sorts of stuff. You could do balloons for birthdays and clowns and animals and anything that you can kind of die cut and stick up on these little inserts will be perfect for this. So these cards in a box are just, it's a fun surprise when the person gets it, obviously, because it's not like your regular card, but it's so customizable to anything, you know. Okay, so now for this back panel, and the reason I didn't put this on first is because I wanted to cover the little 1/2 inch flap. So again, liquid glue is your friend. So this is going to be just 1/4 inch shorter and skinnier. So it's 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 inch. Go ahead and put some liquid glue back here. And I'm basically just going to make sure I've got it centered up top. And then I can, you know, push it down in the bottom too. You can also get your bone folder in there and make sure that the glue is adhered. Please remember, if it's a little crooked or not quite the same distance down there, it doesn't really matter. The biggest thing to me was I liked covering that little notch, and I'll show you. I did not do that on my sample. So I've got that little notch sticking up. Probably nobody would notice it but me, but I noticed it. So that was all I could think about. So afterwards, I realized I should put the box together first and then stick that in there. On the back of this panel is going to be for your message piece. So same measurements, 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. That's going to go on the back. We'll stamp that in a little bit. And then on these little flaps, those are just, let me verify. Yeah. 2 1/2 by 1 3/4. And we're just going to pop those on each of them. So you could do little dry embossed pieces. You could do sentiments if you wanted to have like a bunch of things. You could do number die cuts. You could do all sorts of things. Designer series paper is probably the easiest way to decorate these. So that tends to be the way I do it. Yes. Using your bone folder is a huge help with construction on this one. Absolutely. It just gets into all the nooks and crannies. And the scoring as well is just, or the folding and creasing, so much better with your bone folder. All right, so there is our basic box. Now, because I knew this would be kind of measurement heavy and everything, I did some pre-die cutting. And this is from the Petals of Beauty bundle. So I did just die cuts for all my little sticky uppies, all my little embellishments. So I've got some couple of different kinds of leaves. And then I've got these fun flowers. So with this bundle, you could stamp the flowers and then die cut them and all sorts of things, or you can do a combo, or you can just do die cuts. And for this, I just did the die cuts. The other thing I wanted to point out is these don't match perfectly, and that's on purpose. So just kind of get them however you like, but don't expect them to match perfectly. And the stamps don't match perfectly either. So that is accurate. That is how they're supposed to be. So if you do get this bundle and you're like, mine's broken, it's not. It's an artistic choice. And I kind of like these because then I don't have to worry that, oh, I didn't get that lined up right. It's not supposed to be. So it's a nice little, it's a nice little break from perfection, right? Don't we all need that? So for these two, usually when I have something that is that detailed of a die cut, I would use adhesive sheets on the back. But for one, because they don't line up perfectly, there's nothing for this part to adhere to. The other thing is the center is so solid that I can just put a little liquid glue back there and we're all good to go. All right, let's see which way I like this. Oh, just like that. And now we can kind of play and see how we like this. So I think I want this one back here. And what I usually recommend as well is to tuck things behind the little inserts so that from the front, it's a cleaner look. So if somebody's kind of got this on the mantle or something, it's a cleaner look. The other thing I want to point out is you can go a little bit beyond one panel on one side or the other, as long as when you fold it flat, everything is encased in here. Otherwise, it won't go in the envelope. If you're planning just to give it to somebody, it doesn't matter. Go to town. But if you're going to mail it, you definitely want to make sure to keep inside the lines there. So I'm just going to put a little liquid glue on the bottom of that. We'll tuck it in. All right, so I'm going to choose to go over on this side. So when I fold it, we're going to fold it this way. So everything's encased, okay? So it doesn't really matter which way you go, as long as you're consistent. This one as well, we'll put a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom. So this one, when I put it in, I want to make sure I stay within that field and not to go over it either, not to go any higher. There we go. So very cool, very multi-layered. And then we'll just start adding some flowers. So I think the bigger flower will go on the back. And what I think I did the other day, so I took a dimensional and put it kind of on the bottom. And then I can stick it on the front. And it still looks really cool. Looks like it's floating in there. And then I think I will do a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom here. And again, we'll do it on the front so as to layer in front of that leafy image. And then this last one, let's add it to the back. Again, making sure I don't go over the left side or the top. So there you go. There's our layered pop-up, right? And then we can just fold it flat like that, put it in the envelope. Okay, so now let's do our back. So for this one, we're going to get our stamp set out. And I did have to pull in a different stamp set for my words because this one has no words. Sometimes I have no words. That doesn't happen very often, though. Just ask anybody. That was the one thing I pretty much consistently got in trouble for at school when I was a kid. This is just chatterbox. That doesn't surprise anybody that knows me, I'm sure. All right, so again, we're using Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. So the background, the main kind of solid image of the flower is going to be in Balmy Blue. Confirmed, Russ says. Oh, thanks, Penny. I know, I love the layers. I'm glad I added the second one too, because I think that second insert really makes it. Yeah. I'm a chatterbox, that's for sure. There we go. Here's my smaller solid guy. So one over here. And I think one up top. And then we have the detail parts of those flowers. Again, they are not meant to line up perfectly, but I think these line up a little better than the dies. So you kind of get a general idea. So we were watching a YouTube live yesterday of one of our favorite musical artists, and she does these monthly lives that we usually try to catch. And she's in San Francisco, so she was talking about the blackout, which apparently I was under a rock yesterday because I didn't even hear about until she was talking about it. Now it's everywhere. But she was talking about the Waymo taxis and how when the lights are out, they get to the intersections and they're confused and don't know what to do. So they like just park and put their hazards on. And so then like another Waymo would come up behind the first one and see the hazards and go around and get up to the intersection and get confused and stop and put its hazards on. So pretty soon there was just a wall of Waymo taxis and nobody could get through because they were confused and they didn't know what to do. So an interesting thing that I bet nobody thought of. Because how often do you get a blackout, right? So Okay, so for our words, I went to my friendly foliage and I thought we could go Here for You Always. I liked that one. This is one of those cards too. Waymos. Oh, Russ says the Waymos were all pulled off the streets today. Oh, really? Huh? Yes, Penny, this is how we learn. Exactly. I mean, you know, all new technology has kinks, right? And you don't find those until you're in a situation. But that's a rough situation to be in, let me tell you, to have San Francisco at a standstill because the Waymos don't know what to do. So yes, this is one of those cards where it makes a big impact, but it doesn't leave you a lot of room to write a note. So like this one, I've decorated up quite a bit. If you wanted to write more, you could obviously just maybe put a little stamp in the corner or something, and you could use that whole sheet to write. As you all know, I often say there are people that maybe I don't know well, and I'm like, I don't know what to write for you. So perfection. We all have those people that were like, I feel like I should send you a card and I want to send you a card, but I don't know what to say on the card. The little spaces are really perfect for that. People are touched because you thought of them and you sent them a card, and yet you don't sound insincere. All right. So we can actually fold this in half. I just have to remember which one is the panel that I want to put that on. So also I wanted to mention, if you get excited when you start to make this and you accidentally fold this panel down, don't worry because you're putting something on the front and the back, so it'll stand up by itself if you forget. I think this is the first time I've made one where I actually didn't fold it down. So there you go. Voila! I absolutely love this paper, you guys. I love the colors together. I don't use a lot of balmy blue, but I really, really love it with Night of Navy. So this might get me to use it a little bit more, you know? I usually opt for the pool party when I'm going for a lighter blue. Okay, so of course, I have a different one to show you as well. I pulled out my pop-up petals because pop-ups, right? And made a pretty little floral card. And I used the two-tone cardstock on here and embossed it. So instead of using designer paper, I just did that. That has the two inserts in it. So I've got one flower back here and then just multiple flowers. Super pretty little thing. And then a little garden on the back as well. And I will have a third version in my newsletter this week. I don't know how I want to put those down like that so you can see them. That is a cute bouquet. Thank you. I did love the way it turned out. And like I said, you know, things like this with a lot of little doodads that maybe sometimes it feels like, I don't know how to fill up a card like that, but these are perfect for those little doodaddy kind of stamp sets. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've got the alternative. Okay, so I will have a third version in my newsletter this week, and it has a sneak peek of new product that will be out next month, like in 2 weeks. And so the supply list for this one, the True Blue one, is in the video description here. And also the supply list for all 3 plus measurements will be in my newsletter this week. You can subscribe to my newsletter, let me see, by going to stampernan.com. And there's all my social links are in there, everything you need to know. Plus my newsletter sign up is at that link. Okay. I think that's about it for me tonight. So let me pop back up here and let me tell you, thank you all for tuning in for the year of 2025. I appreciate it. It's always nice to have people joining in and commenting. Any suggestions for things that you'd like to see in 2026? Absolutely, send them my way. Like I said, I'm planning for 2026 right now, so if you have something that you want to learn or you want to know more about, or types of videos maybe you want to see, or types of content you want to see, let me know. I'll see if I can work it in. So, all righty. Merry Christmas, Penny, and Happy New Year. And please tell Al the same from both of us. Thank you so much for joining me so often this year. It's been a pleasure. Okay, I think that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining me. Again, this is your weekly reminder that if you got some inspiration or learned a thing or two, go ahead and tag your peeps in the comments or share this video with them so that they can learn a thing or two as well. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2026. Happy stamping.